Hello, welcome everybody. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for coming to the 2024 Murdoch University Open Day. My name is Gregor Samsa, and I'm the head of the history department here. I'm here today to convince you all to do history here next year after you finish high school. The best way I can convey my argument is articulated incredibly by a quote from George Santayana. The quote is that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And currently, the world is repeating some of the preludes to its darkest history. The Israel-Palestine conflict that started in 2023 wasn't a new fire that was created, but an old one, reignited. The conflict dates back to the founding of Israel in 1945, following the Second World War. Since then, there have been numerous wars fought between these two sides: the 1947 to 1949 War of Independence, the 1956 Sinai War, the Six-Day War of 1967, and the First Intifada between 1987 and 1993, which is where Hamas first got involved in the war. So, have we done anything after these numerous losses of life, many of whom were completely innocent? No, we have done nothing. Instead, we settle for the status quo time and time again, and let said status quo boil over into open war time and time again, ensuring death and destruction continue to reoccur for every new generation. The current Russian-Ukrainian conflict is another example of this endless cycle occurring due to our inability to learn from history. The Russians and Ukrainians have been in this cycle since the rule of Peter the Great in the 17th century. Russia, wanting to expand its influence in Europe, would invade and annex Ukraine. Once it was annexed, they would oppress and exploit the native Ukrainians, treating them as subhumans. Ukraine would gain its independence in 1917 following the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. The very next year, the Soviet Union invaded Ukraine and annexed it in 1918. After doing this, they committed what is known as the Holodomor to them. Holodomor means murder through starvation. 2 million Ukrainians died to the Holodomor. Another 4 million died through executions and being sent to the Gulag work camps. So, when Ukraine gained its independence once more in 1991 following the collapse of the Soviet Union, did we do anything? Even after Russia annexed the Crimea in 2014, did we take any measures, do anything to help them? No, we learned nothing. Because we failed to learn the obvious lesson. Now Russia is invading Ukraine once more. These two examples are not even the most horrifying parts of history we look to be repeating. The next section of our past that we are retreading affects every single one of us, which is the preludes to the First and Second World Wars. Just like before 1914, we've developed new weapons and devices of war that haven't been used in one before. We still use doctrines and tactics from a bygone era that no longer apply to modern warfare. We have two major alliance networks that, if they ever come into conflict with each other, will ignite a war like no other. Just like before 1939, we can see increasing radicalism in our politics and an us or them mentality. We can see rising nationalism and a hatred for those who are different. We can see a breakdown in rational discussion and an increase in blind ideological loyalty. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. The world as we know it today is so insane that we look as if we are creating the conditions for a third world war. The death count of the second one was 55 million. We are meant to learn from our mistakes, learn from our histories. The people who have come before us clearly haven't and are repeating the mistakes of said history. It is up to us to learn about and from history to make sure the ship doesn't hit an iceberg and doom our voyage. And the easiest way I can recommend for you to do that is to do history in Murdoch University next year.